Hello, boys and girls, and welcome back to Haunted Router. It's your boy, Jeff and Ben, back with another wonderful episode. And today we got two stories from two people who have actually posted on the sub Haunted Router. If you're a writer and you're like, I hate no sleep, I want them to suck the schmegma off of my sacky tack, go post on Haunted Router. I know Creepcast is another place, and also Creepcast submissions. Those are three great places that you can post. And I know for a fact Haunted Router will pretty much always have like creative freedom. That's like something I'm always very passionate about, so we will keep that there. But these guys have posted on the sub. I am very excited to get into both of their stories. The first one we're going to be reading is My Boss at a Worm Packing Shack Scared Me. These are all the chapters. He did post it in parts, but he posted it on the sub in all the chapters. This is Death Lord Gargathokincock.
Death Lord Gargothicon.
Yeah.
Fucking cool last name, by the way.
I was close.
I'm gonna steal this when I play Merkborg next time.
Dude, I was close. I think I was pretty close with
it was pretty close, yeah.
Dude, that's what I hope when I have a long day at work and I come home. I hope my wife, Dark Lord Glocks on me.
The Gargothicon, yeah.
Exactly. But he's posted a lot. He's a frequent user of our sub and also like Creepcast. I think this guy seems this guy's really cool. He posts a lot of stories. Yes. This guy's really creative. I'm excited to get into one of his stories. And also we got
our other most prolific poster besides you, Jeff, right? Besides your stories.
You know, I'm not sure. Yeah, dude, okay. I did write stories on Haunted Router. You are right. I haven't finished it. Well, maybe I will by the time this episode airs. But it's got a ways, and it's not very good. And we are never reading it. The only way we read it is if you write something like egregious and long and overcomplicated and put it on the sub, and I will read that to you and make fun of it as well.
Accepted.
But if we get on Haunted Router, I mean, he posts. I think Gloomy and him are tied. So our other story that we have today from Gloomy Succotash 8686, he is our other most prolific, like most who posts most consistently. And then I would have to say it's somebody we actually had in a episode prior, the Tennessee Evil episode. Forrest Has Eyes has posted a few times on the sub as well, and his stories are incredible.
We love Forrest Has Eyes so much.
He's a great author.
If you're watching this, we fucking love you.
You're great. You're awesome. But I'm excited to get into both of these guys' stories. And with how much they post and how consistent they post stories, these guys are both like some deep little honey boy, like, you're a good little honey boy. You're a good little honey boy. I'm going to stick my thumb in and get some honey right out of that suckle big sexy boy. But yeah, I'm really excited.
I think they brought us some juicy things today to go stick in our thumbs.
Yeah, exactly. But I will start it out with My Boss at the Worm Packing Shack Scared Me, all chapters.
Let's start with the cocaine van.
What a great way to start, with a van of cocaine.
I want all of my stories from No Sleep to start with cocaine vans from now on.
Is it like the van from Cheech and Chong where it's made out of cocaine?
Oh, I would like to think
like
so.
Up in Smoke, brother.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, dude, it is just a white van, just it's completely like solidified bricks of yayo.
It's just you're driving behind it and you just can't see shit. It's like
dude, every time it hits a speed bump, you get a contact high. Just the granny behind you keeps rear-ending you to get another bump.
Fuck yeah. That's where the word bump comes from.
Yeah.
The cocaine van. You go up and you bump the cocaine van.
Absolutely.
Okay. One morning, Mr. Boss came to work with his van full of coolers, each containing cups of worms, which usually meant he had been sitting there in the shack somewhere from 5 minutes to an hour, since our day typically started knowing the amount of worms we'd be packing that day, which he usually tells us in the morning after he pulls up, or in a text if he is running unusually late. Or sometimes we'd wait around for an hour and then be sent home. This job's crazy. The van appeared outside next to the open front door of the shack as it started reversing. The first thing in the morning, we would either unload or load the van. Today was loading. After he backed up into the gravel driveway and opened the back doors, The floor was covered in white powder, and his forehead was smeared with the same substance once he got out of the driver's seat.
Bro was gacked out, brother. Gacked out of the middle.
First thing is he's like, I can explain. It's gonna be like it's gotta be the first word out of his mouth.
Have you ever grunted for worms for 48 hours straight? I have, and it takes a lot of help.
Sausage was made. Yeah. This is what it takes to run the worm biz. All of us glared at him, but said nothing directly to him about it since, well, what was there to say? It was situations like this that inspired me to write about this place. I remember we wanted to film at work in our downtime because we figured it would be fun to make something creative using this shack. I wanted it to be called
Worms,
and had many working hours where I would daydream about what would be an insane documentary or fictional show about this place, but the boss vetoed that since the property was supposedly really hard to get and that it was technically private property. The bosses tended to find people at small local churches to work for them. At first, I didn't think this was an issue, but when I realized that I myself was a homeschooled churchgoer, I was the perfect demographic for that place because I could go to work, come back home, and then do my schoolwork. This is Wendigoon.
Yeah.
This is Wendigoon. That's okay. That's awesome.
It's literally just Wendigoon. I'm a good little Christian boy. I'm Wendigoon. Yeah. I'm a good little. Have you read Blood Meridian? I'm Wendigoon.
Now I imagine when the boss comes back in with the cocaine van, he's like, "So, no loading?" And then he just like turns around and walks off. Like, suffice to say, those days were the most stressful. Mr. Boss told me one day as I was waiting around to always be busy doing something. At first I thought it was good advice, but it later manifested into always feeling guilty when I wasn't doing something, even in my present day life. Yeah, I fucking feel that one. And in the short term out, however, we had to sweep out all the dirt of the door every single day, which in retrospect I'm not sure if that's technically littering or not.
Dirt?
No.
Sweeping dirt out of the dirt?
No.
It's worm dirt.
From one piece of ground to another, yeah.
Yeah, dude. I wouldn't call it littering unless it was like something that wasn't biodegradable. Like if you're throwing if you're throwing small children out of your window on the highway, that's a little different than like, oh, check this banana peel. This banana peel will biodegrade. I mean, I guess children would be biodegradable if we want to get into the conversation.
I didn't want to correct you.
So you can okay, so you can throw children out of your car going 90 on the highway. This is not
littering, I guess.
It's not littering, but it's still not great legal advice.
I will say, yeah, first off, don't fucking do that. But I will say that I don't think that's the ticket you're gonna get.
No, it's probably murder. Yeah. I think the charge is murder.
The cocaine van wasn't the first instance where something uncanny like this had happened. This job was the first place I saw dead bodies. Whenever we have worms die,
it's just the worms are dead. Those are the bodies. Because if he considers dirt littering, could you imagine he cries every night because the worms died in the cup? He goes fishing and when he rips them in half, he cries. Do all worms
he's at church, like freaking out.
He's like, forgive me, Father. I murdered Squiggly Wiggly Boy.
All the dudes are just like taking turns, like eating them and fucking like pulling them apart and stuff, and he's just like
crying. He's crying big man tears over in the corner, and the kids are making fun of him for being a loser.
Like, shut up, Wendigoon. Whenever we had worms die, due to being too old or not getting used, too old? How?
So what happens is when worms sit in the dirt for too long, they like dry out and like turn into slime and then become like part of the dirt. I know because I worked in multiple tackle shops, so they just like obliterate themselves. They just like disappear in the dirt. It's like slime and stuff in there that's just gone.
Or like back to Earth. Here we go.
Yep. Worms are weird, bro. They got like 47 hearts.
Dude, this is actually pretty fascinating. Whenever we had worms die due to being too old or not getting used, we had to scrap it out of either big white styrofoam containers, or what we call flats, which were essentially big flat shallow stone pans with the worm knife, which was a trowel. Or if the dead worms were really...
No, I'm just laughing.
Is this something you do?
No, never have done this.
Okay,
No,
okay.
I've always worked where the worms are already packaged, and then I sell them to people. Mainly, I just point.
I get it.
Yeah, this is like I like point, and I'm like, that's where the worms are, sir. Don't.
So
talk
these are
to
the guys
anymore.
you would have been dealing with, though. These are your vendors.
This would be a vendor. Oh, that I would have dealt with in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have dealt with
Did
one of
anyone
these
ever
people.
pull up in a cocaine van?
Nah, there was a lady once that used to deliver. She was like, she wasn't a cocaine van, but she would tell me about how much she hated Del Taco like 75 times every time she'd show up. And I'm like,
hey,
cool.
Yeah, dude.
Del Taco sucks. I agree with you.
Hashtag feminism. Or if the dead worms were really stuck to the bottom of these containers, since dead worms turn into one of the worst liquids I have ever witnessed, confirmed by Jeff, we'd occasionally use a shelf bracket that was lying around to scrape the bottom. This was the worst part of the job that nobody warns you about. Whether it was the day the fridge went bad and we scooped out several plates of melted worms, the nitro worms that were just constantly dead, or the time the leaf worms drowned, it smelled indescribable, to the point where we would almost throw up at how bad it reeked. I genuinely cannot compare it to anything I have ever sniffed before. Oh,
bro doesn't understand.
Worms
is gross. But we had a high school kid working one time who bagged like we would sell crab, right? Like crab bait. It was just like little crabs that people use as bait. And some kid that we decided to bag them all up. He pulled them out of the freezer, bagged them all up, and then didn't think to put them back in the freezer and stacked other boxes on top of it. So 3 weeks go by because these boxes would stack, right? And we would wait until we get a new bait delivery, and then those guys would use those boxes to store in the freezer. This guy put like frozen crabs in there, and they thawed. Yeah, dude, they thawed, and the whole store smelled like dead, rotting flesh.
Was the stink covered up?
It was covered up until
until you went and uncovered it.
Well, it was covered for a while. But it was there for so long, like it was like a couple weeks, because like again, these just store up until the delivery people show up, and we put new boxes in them and throw them in the freezer, and it had sat there so long that when somebody else had found it, I guess I just knew the smell was irradiating from the bait room. And I was like, God, and I cleaned that bait room with bleach. I did everything. I never thought to move the boxes. Like, those boxes have nothing in them. So,
they're all empty boxes.
But now, dude, rotten
them.
crab. And luckily, I wasn't on the rotation that found the rotten crab. I was, I bleached and then I bleached and then went home, and somebody told me like, yeah, didn't move the boxes. I'm like, yeah, why would I move the boxes? They're like, well, there's rotten crab in them. I'm like, I'm glad I wasn't me, buddy. I'm glad you had to deal with the rotten. It was so bad that the guy who dealt with it, they sent home.
Oh yeah,
they sent him home afterwards because he kept throwing up.
Yeah. I would do the same thing. I'd be like, you know what, dude, you get paid for the full 8. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
After this horrific incident, Mrs. Boss, the boss's wife, who was also owned this business, brought brownies to the shack and put them on the makeshift janky table composed of laid down broken doors and sawhorses. This is so realistic to a shop. Like, just some out of the way shop. You know, they have that thin sheet metal fucking walls, dude.
Mm-hmm.
On the surface, this seemed rather innocent. However, she then cut the brownies with that dirty shelf bracket.
Oh, let's go. I'd still eat it, brother. I'd nom those brownies down. I would have dead worms on my hand while eating it.
Like, something fucking reeks around here.
I would shove my head into it like it was a Brazilian's butthole, bro. Just tear those brownies up.
So they're scraping this nasty worm soup mixed with all of the dirt and powder and stones and stuff like that that's just caked onto these, like, definitely reused containers with this old fucking caked up bracket, and then this lady just comes in and grabs it up, and she's just like, brownies!
The next line's even better, brother. The next line's even better, dude.
I felt sick to my stomach. Especially when she then tried to go get the worm knife to use instead. And that stopped her from causing further damage by suggesting against that. At least it wasn't As bad as those expired donuts she brought in one time. How is that not as bad?
She's
You
like,
can pick off the worm dirt, bro.
dude,
It just makes like a weird like booger. You just roll
I don't
it
know.
down off
I
the
feel
side
like
of the
an
brownie.
expired Dunkin' Donut would shatter your teeth. I think it would
That's
just
true.
break your teeth. At least
It
this.
shatters your teeth, and the spores from the mold launch into the back of your throat at the same time.
And this, you get some protein, baby. This is just survivalist stuff right here. You're just
I
not
didn't even think about
You're
that.
not thinking
Yeah,
about
you're
the
right, you're right.
min-maxing, brother. You're not thinking
I'm
about.
thinking from my privileged high tower up here.
Yeah, dude. You get that Gucci crap out of here, boy. Boy, you
Into
get
the
that
world, you're
Gucci
scraping
crap out
those
of here.
pans right into the fucking soup kettle.
I bring hot worms home every day. I go get them out of my front lawn just to make them into spaghetti, so I add a little extra protein. You think I can afford that ground beef? That ground beef way too goddamn expensive. I got ground worm guts.
But it's like turkey if you fry it up.
Exactly.
Regarding the worms who were still alive, we had 3 places we kept them: the fridge, the freezer, and the bathroom. Night crawlers were stacked in white styrofoam squares towering all the way to the ceiling of the fridge. We kept the finished packed worm cups in these beat up white styrofoam coolers that we would put in the freezer, which never froze the worms, it just kept them cool. We had 3 different cooling devices, so we needed different names for them. The coolers were heavy, so we'd have to carry them to the freezer and set it in there in a specific order, which was a system we came up with to keep track of which worms were the oldest. Yeah, just stock rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Then there was the worst bathroom in all of humanity, mostly because they stored wax worms in a large open container on a shelf in front of the toilet, as well as leaf worms on the floor in white rectangle containers. And because of the grime on our hands every time we packed, no matter how much we washed our hands in that gross bathroom, they never felt clean. So even when we ate our sandwiches for lunch, you could tell there was still dirt on our hands, and apparently before we worked, a previous worker would come in and shower before work in that very disgusting bathroom. Dude, you're just in there just naked as a jaybird, dude. Just like a little sun bubble like in front of your Johnson, and just in the fucking concrete flickering light bulb above you, and you're just like, huh?
You're like, no, one of the coworkers walks in and just like reaches down. He's like, let me get some of them suds, brother.
Yeah.
He just cops himself a feel, right?
Himself.
He just like gets in. He just like rubs his chest hair. He's like, it's like a Brillo pad.
Yeah,
it's a nice little Brillo pad.
Get the nails up in there.
Exactly.
I love it, dude. We all know somebody from like these really bad blue collar jobs like that. Somebody who would just be in that bathroom too. It's gotta look like
there's
a
always the
truck
one
stop
guy that doesn't
and
shower.
a zoo mixed at the same time. Oh yeah, and that's right.
The guy who doesn't shower, and he says he does, but you know that he's showering in an environment worse than what you're working in.
Yeah, you get the dirt rings. Mm-hmm. They're always a large gentleman, and you sit up right next to him down in summertime.
Yeah.
So like a dumpster. Shipment days were the worst. Sometimes we wouldn't know what exact day they were happening. And when it did happen, these flats were always muddy, so by the end our clothes were caked in mud. The truck driver of that shipment was a Russian-sounding Canadian guy who would always flirt with Mrs. Boss while we would unload the truck. One time... He don't care, bro. He don't give a fuck.
Dude, he just talks like XQC. Very hot. I like your panties. I want to sniff. I want to sniff.
She's like, you want a brownie? He's like, I want a brownie.
I want the brownie good.
One time, while the shipment was happening, a tower of flats fell over, causing a huge mess in the middle of a delivery, making the delivery last even longer because there were so many worms. It always took about an hour to finish shipment, but it always felt so much longer, meaning any hiccup in production made it feel that much worse. Dude, I can relate to this story so much. By the end, the fridge was fully stocked, to the point where you could barely shut the door. Dirt was a huge part of this shack's production process. There was a dirt machine, where we made special dirt for the worms. Well, due to the ingredients, we had to wear a paper mask while making it. No one did, mostly because of how uncomfortable it felt. So now we all probably have lung damage. I remember one of them workers had a dream that another worker jerked off into the dirt machine before sacrificing him to a burglar.
That's brilliant! What a wonderful image!
I just want to reread that. I remember one of the workers had a dream that another worker jerked off into the dirt machine before sacrificing him to a burglar. This is
he's just sitting there and
story.
and he grabs him. He's like, "Take this man with you." What the?
He's just like, he's just going crazy, cracking it into the fucking machine, and like when he's done, he's like, "Part 1 is finished. Now part 2." And he just grabs him and throws him right on top of the jizz, and he's like, "Ah." And then, yeah.
I got a worm for you, buddy.
Yeah.
This is wild.
The trips to get dirt from a store were a nightmare, because we would literally have to slide one of the walls open just to stack dirt bags inside. But making nitro dirt was the biggest secret there. We all gathered to pack nitro worms. 2 people would pack and then the third would dirt it, which would always lead to one of the workers falling behind in speed. When we put nitro dirt in a water bottle just for fun, it looked like Mountain Dew, so we had to get rid of it because it was considered dangerous. Mr. Boss would sometimes insist that we don't know how to count worms since he found some cups that had not enough or too many worms, which probably didn't help that we would occasionally go on worm packing speed runs when we got bored. He never said who it was, however, but I always assumed it was me, even though I'm pretty good at counting, and implied that we would start being charged every time we miscounted, as in $1 to $10 off our paycheck per missing worm.
Damn,
which
brother.
was crazy because those paychecks weren't that great to begin with, especially during the winter. Dude, fuck.
That's rough, dude. I don't even.
He's like, "Now eat your fucking worm-covered brownie."
Dude, a thing of worms costs like $1, I think. I don't know. It's
Right.
like a couple bucks. So like, and there's like usually like 20 something in there, right? I don't ever count the
I don't
amount
know.
of worms. I don't know like the exact count of worms, but I know there's like a decent amount of worms in there. So to lose $1 for every worm or $1 to $10, that's just like not economical.
This guy's behind on his coke money.
Yeah.
This guy needs coke money, that's what it is.
It's coke
He's driving
money,
around
yeah.
all day in the cocaine van. He's driving to everywhere they're dropping these worms off at and check it. He's like, "Give me 1 worm thing. You know what, give me 2 worm things, actually." And he's out there in his van like, "All right, let me count these motherfuckers." Like,
Dude.
"Oh, sure." Yeah. This dude's doing on-hand quality control.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's very behind on his payments. The owners had a very specific packing method that had to be followed to a T. If the worm coolers we had to fit in a soda bottle filled with ice that we got from a small separate freezer and had to keep it stocked, otherwise the coolers wouldn't stay cold after we put it in the back of the van. We even had this contraption where it was a nail taped to a wood block, and we used that to punch holes in the lids for the worms. Real janky. There was also a chalky styrofoam piece that we had to puncture the nail with to make it easier to punch the holes. I'd always wonder how it would feel to place my hand on that styrofoam piece and ram the nail into my hand.
Fair enough.
One day, yeah, dude, you're fucking packing worms for like 8 hours a day while this dude's screaming at you that you're counting fucking worms wrong. Dude,
Yeah.
I would be like over there just like, that, yeah.
The curiosity, the intrusive thoughts would be winning, brother. I'm like,
Yes, yeah.
It's
You
like-
can only jerk off into the dirt machine
so many times. You can only do it like so many times before you're just shooting dust. So it's time to start stabbing yourself. Self-mutilation on the job site is not recommended. Again, not legal advice.
This is like a real grimy, like,
This is just day in a
Dark
job,
Lord-
disgusting job.
Dark Lord Gargathicon. This is how I would imagine him writing like the Blockbuster story, though.
Mm-hmm.
That is what this reminds. This is just like the most down in the muck version of that, where you work in this kind of fucking surreal place. Yeah. One day, Mr. Boss decided to buy new foldable coolers that held less worm cups. I never understood why he made this change. Yes, it was easier to store the coolers, but it wasn't really worth the trade-off because it meant less cups per cooler, meaning a different total number of cups per cooler, so a new system had to be learned. We literally spent time designing new coolers since we were asked to, just for them to ignore our suggestions and buy some instead. The work was not consistent whatsoever. We literally had to double-check every day if we even had work the next day. One day, my friend's check for the week was $11 because we were there for half an hour and packed a cup of wax worms. Another time, we got texted to come back and ended up working over 12 hours. And during that, we talked and listened to music because we didn't have to worry about how long it took us. Eventually, they started to have people record their house hours near the end of our time being there. Then, a health inspector showed up on a random workday, and honestly, I could have done his job for him. There was something wrong with the fire extinguisher. We had a three-legged ladder that we used to pull ourselves onto the top level of the shack to grab moss bags, which were on the second story. And none of us wanted to go up there since it was essentially just one of the ceilings of the building. We almost died multiple times on the way to work since my friend's brake lines were broken. In the winter, the heater we used to warm our frozen hands while dealing with cold worms was barely working. During summer, the AC was at best a fan. We decided one day to race back to work after lunch, and one of us zipped around the other car on a very thin road, and then got berated for reckless driving, multiple fights with workers, and a worker put out a fire in the shack. Suffice to say, we failed that safety inspection. Winter was slower, so we barely got paid, but it was more fun because it was just me, my two best friends, and our collective depression. There were a few yelling matches, fun conversations, discussing the phrase,
"You know what they say about assuming?"
to which I would respond,
"You shouldn't do it."
Fucking lending it.
So dumb. That was so dumb. I don't know why that got me so hard, brother, but you shouldn't do it.
Is this Wendigo or Sling Blade?
A lot of biscuits with the mustard on them. Oh, well, you couldn't do it. Don't got no gas in it.
That's a saying, they say. Running around outside while wearing homemade cardboard box robot suits in the rain. An argument around versus many
wormy Christmases
where we'd exchange gifts. The time we stopped for work an hour to listen to a wormer tell us the drama. Hour-long lunch breaks where the fast food worker knew us by name when we ordered. The shack anthem was, "What's new, pussycat? Whoa! What's new, pussycat?"
Dude, that's a jam, brother. I'm sorry. You know, what's new, pussycat? I get wet just hearing that song. My nipples are hard right now, dude.
I think the problem with me is I only know that like little snippet of the song. So I just think that the song is like a loop of that over and over again.
Would you need more? Would you need more than just "What's new, pussycat?" Dude, I like.
Yeah, no, I think I'm pretty much ready.
"I Will Survive" by Gloria Gaynor is like the same 6 lines for 8 minutes, and it's a goddamn jam.
That's true.
So I would listen to "What's New, Pussycat" on repeat for 4 hours. If there's other words, I will be disappointed. I will call the artist who's probably dead and say, "Hey, listen here, compadre, you need to cut all that fluff from that song there. All the other shit was garbage. I just want you to hear you say."
Alright, yeah, you're starting to get me going, actually. I'm full-on chubbed up under here now. We performed as a group called
Nitro Rat
by practicing at the shack, which led us to perform at a live event, and only did that one show because we weren't that great. And the birth of inside jokes, including, but not limited to,
Mr. Zebra Cakes. And funny,
you just had to be there, viewer.
I had a buddy one time eat 2 boxes of zebra cakes in one sitting, and I watched him throw up violently.
Wait, is that a true story?
Yeah. We went to the gym, and he was like, "I want a zebra cake," and I was like, "All right, buddy." And we go to this, we go into Walmart. He comes out with 2 boxes of zebra cakes. I'm like, "What the fuck?" And he like eats. He sits there ripping them open and throwing them in his mouth, ripping them open and throwing it in his mouth. He looked like a chipmunk at one point, and he turns and just violently throws up out of the car. And he's like, "I think I'm good for a month on zebra cakes."
Yeah, okay, I was thinking this was some like post-workout like fucking weird hunger horniness or some shit that he had. I thought you meant 2 packages. Like he ate 4 zebra cakes.
He ate a box.
2
boxes. Like those boxes, brother. He ate 2 boxes in one sitting, and I was like, "You're not gonna stop?" He's like, "If you stop, you want more." Okay, man. All right, brother. You just keep. You do you.
This dude is fucking nuts.
Yeah, he was pretty crazy. Man.
But then Mrs. Boss decided to hire someone new. In order to get the job, during these
Interviews.
she would ask what animal you would be and why. I can't remember who, but somebody said dog, so they could lay around all day. Not the best answer, obviously, for a manual labor job, but they got the job regardless, since you never saw a line out of the door to apply.
She just has like
That
a
makes
listing.
sense.
That was her have you ever eaten somebody and when did your mom know question.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
100% like we're asking you these questions because we have nothing better to do and you got the job anyways.
Yeah, yeah. I'm literally doodling a cat on my clipboard back here. Like, I don't even have your resume. How a 16-year-old would be put in charge of scheduling, I have no clue. But his parents had to sign something for him to be able to even work. Oh wait, no, that was I read that right. He wore earplugs the whole time. He was there due to hating our
Guitar music. Give me guitar
since,
music.
since he grew up as a sheltered Baptist boy. We had to pause the music whenever the bosses came around anyways. But even when we went to lunch in the car as we blared our music, he actively covered his ears.
What a
Fucking weenie.
pussy. Oh, yeah. He's like, can you please put on something that doesn't have strings? I want to hear only the Halo 1 soundtrack.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, like let's just put on some gospel. Eventually, music was banned entirely in the shack. Oh, this fucker.
Wow, what a
crossed the line.
loser.
At least when it came to the foam cup speaker we made, or the stereo one of the guys brought in, since we all had earbuds we could use instead, which is typically what the dirt maker would do. A role that I tended to most of the time, just to be alone with my thoughts, while listening to either an underground rap album or a podcast about how to be self-employed, since none of us wanted to be here for years, even though some of us were. There was a clear hierarchy depending on who worked there at the time. One previous worker was always being talked about positively by the bosses, which put him on his pedestal as one of the best workers ever. Then there was a worker who had
Employee of a lifetime.
and
Regional manager.
certificates, which made a fellow worker jealous. One wormer even invented the manager role at that place and actually got paid more than the rest of us because of it. When someone left the worm shack for good, we usually had them sign a piece of paper and tape it to the wall as a little
Memoriam.
to the lives that suffered at this place.
Dude, I just died. I literally got shot and killed. Miranda. I was like,
Well,
guys,
right there at the end,
Miranda
and
rights.
threw in a fancy word, but it was you this time.
Yeah, dude,
Fuck you, writers.
dude, they threw the. I was like, dang it, dude, this is me, and I'm gonna mess it up because I'm big stupid.
The bosses went along with all of this, never shooting these ideas down. Religion, weirdly enough for a work environment, was a constant factor in this shack. Besides hunting down the local church boys,
Dude, they're killing him. That's the worm food.
that's fucking awesome. This is a really good way of terming it. Besides hunting down the local church boys and one girl, who was the only girl to work there while we were hired, there was a guy who was joked to be a satanic worshiper. And then there was the existence of the Worm Shack Shrine, which was just a little shelf in the corner of the front packing room where we put trinkets, and after we left the company, a picture of John Wayne marker on his face that drew the shape of a mustache, a Santa Buddha statue, and my perfectly good pair of sunglasses I sacrificed, among other things, only to realize that years later, the policies would change, and they took down that very shelf. That's so sad. Because that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Amongst the chaos, there were some genuinely good ones. A basketball hoop out in the parking lot, which we'd use during lunch breaks or slower seasons. We had a little wagon that could barely hold a few coolers, but was still fun to use. And one of the workers brought in $1 slushies from the gas station. That was one of the most positive moments I've had from the shack. That place changes you, however. We all felt it. One wormer almost killed a fellow coworker because he told the coworker he was dating the coworker's ex, and then later that week went to the same church camp with him. Another worker had worm-related nightmares the first few months working there. And while I never had nightmares, I was at my lowest mentally. I remember one time I was left to clean up everything. Even though I was exhausted, I offered for some reason despite the fact that I had homework to do when I got home. And it was already really late in the day. As I swept the back room of the shack, I felt a looming desire to end it all. I was exhausted, dirty, frustrated, and I felt that if I had done all this work for such little return, what was the point? Sure, I was working with friends, even then doing them a favor. But what about me? While I myself was being swept away by the mere fascination of death himself, I looked up as I found myself at the front of the shop, and I saw a lone figure in the distance on a road that was past the grassy square field of the shack. He always walked up and down that very road. Nobody knew who he was. It always made us feel uneasy, and we never knew when we were going to see him. I was then broken from my depressive gaze by the building next door that had what sounded to be a muffled intercom that would blare at the weirdest times, especially now. Shaking my head, I looked down to see not a broom, but matches. As I turned around, the shack was burning down.
What? Oh my god, so he burned the whole shack down.
That was such a subversion there at the end. The
this
nice, quiet little church boy
burns the place down. Burns the entire thing down.
I have to say that this might also be one of my favorite stories that we've read.
It's just so weird. It's so weird because it's not scary.
This.
But and
No,
like there's a lot
not.
of questions to be asked, like what was really going on with the cocaine van? I didn't see any dead bodies, but he said dead bodies, but I guess it's just the worms. I guess I was right with it just being the worms.
No, I think that there was at one point a dead body that just got like brought through, and like they just like glanced over and saw it and were just like back to work. Like nope. Like maybe they saw it in the back of the fucking van or something. I get the idea that there are very, very strange, fucked up things going on that aren't registering to anybody.
Yeah,
like the bosses, like there's something very wrong with the bosses. They'll only hire from local churches and like kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They have very much illegal work practices, like docking your pay down to $11. This has to be like under the table stuff.
Yeah, the thing that I think worked really well for me in this story is the fact that it just feels like that miserable job we've all done at one point in our life.
Yes.
It is that one grimy job that felt like you were in a horror movie just because of the work you were doing. I don't think anybody has had a job that they didn't just absolutely despise, but they just kept doing it because they were getting paid and they didn't know if they didn't really want to leave because their friends are there, and then you leave and then you don't find another job, so you just kind of keep with the status quo, and I think it just kind of hit his breaking point, and that's why he burned down the whole thing. But weird story. Now I don't think it's one of my tops, but I definitely thought it was interesting. I just felt like I was looking at a summer at the worm packing plant, and most of the time it stays in that realm, which is cool. But at the same time, I was like kind of waiting for more to happen.
I was waiting for there to be some main conflict or something like that, like to show up or something. I thought that we were gonna get like just a few paragraphs in before something like the body shows up or like the dead bodies or something like that. And that's what this was gonna be about, is like, well, what do you think we feed the worms or something like that, is what I thought it was going to be. Something like really horror and out there at the end. And it wasn't. This is just everybody's had this job. If you've worked blue collar, like everybody has sweated their fucking balls off somewhere and been doing some menial task and been like,
I could just burn this
what the
place
fuck
down.
am I doing? I have clocked out of work so many times hoping to get a text message saying at some point in the middle of the night, like from my lead or something like that, the entire factory blew up. The entire factory burned down. Nobody was injured, but like the job is just gone.
Exactly. You always craft it in your head to where there's a time when nobody's in the building, because you're like, I don't want anybody to get hurt. I just don't want to go to work tomorrow.
The job to not be there anymore. Yes, give me that big of an excuse.
Oh yeah.
And this guy made it so. which I was very, very based.
Yeah, it's a dark, very dark turn to the little sheepish church boy burnt down the entire his entire work job. Don't do that. By the way, don't burn down your work. Even though you feel that way, you might have a bad day. But I want you to know that the police don't find arson very based.
No. We only find hypothetical arson based.
Exactly.
Now, I do like also that it is not implied. It is kind of implied that he stayed late, but not that the building was empty at all.
Yeah, no, he could have killed. He could have killed a bunch of people. It just kind of lets you know that he burned down the building.
Yeah, this story. Another thing about that was really personal to me that I liked about it was these very long sentences that contained a whole ton of information. The last few stories that we've read, not a big gripe or anything like that, but have had a lot of really short staccato sentences that kind of feel strange to pace out. And we can cut all of this if it's not that interesting to listen to.
I think it's interesting.
But this one had like very flowy sentences. So Deathlord Gargothicon, he definitely wrote something that I enjoyed reading very, very much, and was fun to read off.
Dark Lord,
thank you so much.
I thought it was an okay story, but I was waiting for more spooks and stuff. I liked it though. I liked it. I'm saying that I understand the horror. I feel like people might not get the horror of it, and I think the horror of it is the mundane of working a bad job. I get it. I just was.
There's very, very subtle things about it, like who is the lone figure in the distance that walks back and forth?
Yeah, but I feel like that should have been like introduced earlier on. That's my.
No, it should have. You're right.
That type of stuff.
He should have seen him like at the beginning, like going into work or something like that, and then coming back out like with the burned down building or something. That would be an edit that I could see.
Yeah,
but I think there's a lot of cool symbolism in this that I would like to like. This is worth like getting into and doing a deep dive on.
Yeah,
so that's for you commenters out there. Hop on Haunted Router and tear this story to pieces. I want to know everything about it.
But all right, that was the first story. Now let's get over to Gloomy Succotash 8686. I love this name. I spent 45 days in solitary confinement, and in order to not make Ben read everything, I think we can. Do you want even or odd days, Ben?
I'll do odd days.
There we go. I'll read the title, let you do the first paragraph, and then we'll get into swapping back and forth, dude.
I have a personal question for you, though, before we begin. Would you rather get a Deathlord Gargothicon, or would you rather get a Gloomy Succotash?
I feel like Gloomy Succotash is just strap-on stuff. I feel like it's just strap-on stuff. You're just like, oh, Succotash, Succotash, Succotash. You're just scared.
You're screaming the safe word.
That's just, it just seems like sad safe word. You're just crying and they won't stop. I don't know. I would rather get a Glockatakatok than the Succotash, brother.
I think I would rather have my Gargothicon death-lorded than something gloomy on my Succotash. But we're not making fun of these names. These are just really funny euphemisms that went together.
Hey, I like a good euphemism. I spent 45 days in solitary confinement.
What you're about to read is something I never thought I'd share with anyone, but I do feel like the time is right for me to get it out there and let people know what I went through and experienced. And let's go ahead and get this out of the way now. I'm not proud of who I was in the past, so what led me to prison and who I am will remain my own dirty secret. I do want to warn you as the reader, though, that what you're about to read can be hard for some people. What I learned in prison is that there is a place built for the scariest people you can think of. The scariest thing of all is the human mind.
Oh no, the chasm.
I guess
it's the chasm. The chasm is the scariest place. It's the chasm. I'm sorry. Your mind's pretty scary, but does it have the chattering man? Or what about Vampire Cop? I think we're forgetting about Vampire Cop. Satan Bot?
Satan Bot. Fucking rips.
Devil Nurse. We gotta always throw in a Devil Nurse.
And the Devil Nurse, of course. What I learned in prison is that a place built for the scary... I guess there's a reason why the worst punishment you can receive in prison is being locked in a room all by yourself. Crazy to think about, isn't it? You're walking around all day wondering if it's the day you're going to get poked in the yard, or if you're going to get attacked in the shower, or poked in the shower.
Both
The amount
bad.
of blood, yeah, the amount the amount of blood I seen shed in that prison would make most people's stomach turn. The amount of sexual assaults on top of that is enough to scare away any sane human from ever committing a crime. But in a place with all of that, the ultimate punishment is solitary confinement, total isolation. I smuggled a journal and a pencil into solitary with me, and that is what you're about to read. Maybe by the end, it'll all start to make sense why solitary is the ultimate punishment in prison, and why I believe it's the cruelest fucking thing we could ever do to another human being. Day 1. They brought me down to the hole today. It's smaller than I imagined. Concrete, steel, and a faint smell of bleach and piss. The door shut like the end of a chapter. It's cool though, I can handle it. Just time, just space. Nothing I haven't done before. Besides, it's gonna be nice getting some fucking peace and quiet for once. Should get some sleep, good sleep too, without having to sleep with one eye open all the time.
Day 2. Not much to report. They slide meals under the door, no window, just a little slot. I'm rationing my thoughts, keeping things neat, organized, working through old memories like boxes in the attic. I recited names of all 50 states today, twice. I remember the game my dad used to play with me in the car, and I can still remember his voice in my head. Who sings this? What's the name of this song? It's a good memory exercise. Probably why I'm so good at remembering shit.
Day 3. Alright, we're doing Boston? Alright, I'll try it.
No.
I had to tell what time it is.
I have no idea what I was doing. I said, voice come forth, and that's what happened.
You're just like conjuring something.
There, I was trying to do anything there, brother. But if you want to go Boston, we can just go. By the end of it, we're both Ben Affleck.
Straight into a Boston accent over time. We'll stay straight at the beginning here. Hard to tell what time it is. The light overhead buzzes in a constant hum, always on. No clock, no sun. I've been doing push-ups and sit-ups. I count everything. Breaths, bites, steps. It's so fucking boring in here, but it is what it is. I've heard stories of people breaking in here, but mama didn't raise no bitch.
Day 4. Dreamt last night, or maybe hallucinated. My mother was there, cooking. I swear I could smell the onions. But then I woke up. The smell was gone, but the hunger wasn't. Cried a little. Not proud of that.
He just said he ain't no bitch, and the next day he's crying.
Yeah.
Over onions. Day 5. I started talking out loud, just to hear a voice. I described my breakfast like I was hosting a cooking show. Instant grits, dry toast, and something that was probably supposed to be eggs. 5 stars for creativity. 1 for flavor. God, what the fuck is wrong with me? Gotta do what I gotta do for entertainment though, am I right?
Day 6. I heard footsteps coming outside the cell, but no one came. They echoed too long, like they're pacing right outside the door. When I called out, it stopped. Weird shit, but what's new? The whole fucking place is weird. I'm not sure what's happening anymore, and honestly, in the days and nights all starting to feel the same at this point.
Day 7. The walls look darker today. Not sure if it's dirt or my eyes adjusting to nothing. I found a crack in the corner. I've been picking at it with my fingernail. I don't know why. Anything to keep myself entertained and pass the time, I guess. This whole solitary shit is for the fucking birds, I swear.
Day 8. I tried to sleep and kept walking every few minutes. My dreams are starting to feel real. Last night I woke up swearing somebody was whispering my name. But there's no one here. Duh. I'm just gonna work out and try to tire myself out. Maybe then I can get some sleep.
Day 9. I started scratching tally marks on the wall with the edge of my meal tray. I think I counted 9, but I might have missed one. I can't concentrate. Everything feels loose, frayed. I'm not trying to lose it, but I'm also starting to understand why everyone seems to hate when they're in here.
Day 10.
Oh.
I'm starting to see shadows on the wall. Reminds me of being up for days on meth. The fucking shadow people. I'm aware of what's going on. I haven't lost my mind yet. I know what I'm seeing ain't real. It's all in my head. I just have to be strong enough to get through this shit.
Day 11. The floor is colder than usual. I laid on it for what felt like hours just to feel something different. I think I saw frost or mold, maybe both. My skin feels wrong, like it doesn't belong to me. Am I finally losing it? I hope not. Man, come on, man, get your shit together.
Day 12. I spoke to myself in a different voice today. It didn't sound like me, but I answered. We had a long conversation about escape. He said there was a door behind the wall, and I asked where. He laughed. Yeah, I'm fucking losing it. I'm aware. And yet I don't think there's anything I can fucking do about it.
There's our two voices right there.
Yeah.
This completely justified it on day 12. Fucking face. Day 13. No food today. Maybe I missed it. Maybe it hasn't been time for food yet. All I can feel is the echo of hunger. What I wouldn't give for some of my mom's cooking. I'm not sure what time it is. I wish they'd put a fucking clock in here or something. I'm losing my mind. Days and nights are one and the same. I'm so fucking tired. At least these fake ass shadow people are keeping me busy.
Day 14. I know the shadow people are fake, but damn they are convincing. One told me his name was Frank. He died in a fire, and now he roams the earth, lost and seeking guidance. The other shadow said her name was Linda, and she was murdered by a stranger. These poor souls lost here on the earth, looking for answers. End up in here, in fucking solitary confinement cell with yours truly? For their sakes, I really do hope they're fake, because if not, what a cruel fucking joke the universe decided to play on them. Just in case they're real, I think I'm gonna try and keep them entertained. At the very least, they'll keep me entertained.
As we reach this point in my journal, I hope my writing hasn't bored anyone half to death, but I mean, if you made it this far to even read this part, you must have some interest in where this goes. Honestly, I may just be stalling myself at this point from having to continue reading my journal myself, putting it down for you all to read. Look, I know I wasn't always a great guy and I made decisions I'm not proud of, but I don't think I deserve what happened to me. I don't think anyone deserves what happened to me. Fuck, the human mind is a scary fucking place to be trapped with. Day 15. Frank told me a joke today. I don't remember the setup, but the punchline was me. I laughed so hard I cried. And then I cried so hard I forgot what was funny in the first place. Linda didn't laugh. She just stared. Her eyes looked like my sister's. I don't have a sister. I keep telling myself, I don't have a sister.
Day 16. There was tapping. Not the pipes. Too rhythmic. Like fingernails on metal. Like someone trying to get my attention. I tap back. Nothing. Silence. 3 more taps. I don't know what game I'm playing, but I think I'm losing. I asked Frank if he heard it. He said yeah. Linda said no. I believe Linda.
Day 17. I remembered a dog I had when I was 8. Her name was Penny. Brown fur, floppy ears, smelled like dirt and popcorn. I haven't thought about her in years. I swear I felt her curl up beside me last night. Warm, comforting. I almost cried again. I don't know what's real anymore. I just want to get out of here. The walls are caving in, the silence is deafening, and the darkness is haunting.
Day 18. I chewed through part of my fingernails without realizing it. It bled a lot more than I expected. Honestly, it feels good to even feel something. A reminder I'm still alive, and that I'm still human. Red looks brighter here, almost fake, like paint. I smeared it on the walls in circles. Don't ask me why. Maybe I just see something new. Maybe I want a sign. Frank says it was a portal. Linda said I should sleep. I think Linda's right again.
Fucking terrifying. Day 19. I heard someone singing. A woman's voice, soft and sad, like a lullaby underwater. It was coming from the vent. I pressed my ear against it for hours. I don't know if I actually heard it or if my brain just needed music. Either way, I felt peace, the first peace in a long time. I hope she sings again. Before I get into day 20, I just wanted to take a second to point out I still hear that song from time to time. It gives me fucking goosebumps. That voice, that song, so haunting, yet so fucking peaceful.
Day 20. My body started to separate from me like I'm driving a machine I don't fully understand. I watch my hands move and I wonder who they belong to. There's dirt under my nails. The cracks in the walls look deeper now. I can see my skin move, bubble, like there's something inside of me trying to get out. I think for the first time in my life, I can say I'm truly scared.
Day 21. I tried to sleep last night. I was scared of what I'd see, but ended up nodding off anyway. Dreamt I was back in the yard, but the sky was black, and everyone was frozen in place. Statues. Their eyes followed me as I walked. No one spoke, not even Frank. I woke up with my hands around my throat. I'm not sure how long I was out, but my brain is exhausted. I'm so fucking tired.
Day 22, the tray slot opened, and I screamed, just reflex. I wasn't expecting it. The food looked off. I swear it moved. I didn't eat it. I couldn't. I buried it under my blanket like a corpse. Maybe tomorrow it'll look more edible. Maybe tomorrow I'll be someone else. There's a part of me that keeps telling myself none of this is real. But it's the only thing that is real at this point.
Day 23. I started humming to myself. Nonsense tunes like old commercials or TV jingles. Linda hums along sometimes. I think she's getting friendlier. Frank hasn't spoken in a while. He's standing in the corner. Won't move. I think he's mad or scared. Maybe both. Honestly, same.
Day 24, I tried talking to the gods at the doorway. No one answered. I asked for the time. I asked for the date. I begged nothing. Not even a shadow in the slot. Just me, my thoughts, and whatever else is hiding in here. The cell is a coffin that forgot to be buried.
Day 25. There was a knock tonight. 4 soft knocks, then silence. Then 4 again. Morse code, maybe? I don't remember Morse code. I knocked back 4 times and then something scraped across the floor outside. I pressed my face to the crack. Nothing. Just black. Just forever. There's gotta be someone out there, right?
Day 26. I saw my reflection in a metal toilet. Didn't recognize the man looking back. Sunken eyes, cracked lips, something behind the gaze that isn't mine. He blinked before I did. I turned away. Don't trust him.
Day 27. I think I forgot how to speak. I tried reciting the 50 states again, but the words felt wrong in my mouth, like they didn't belong to me. I mumbled, slurred, gave up. Instead, I drew maps on the floor with my fingernail. I've never been to most of those places. I wonder if they exist. If they do, I hope I get the chance to see them.
Day 28. Frank spoke again, whispered really. He said he found the door. I said I had to be ready. I asked Linda what he meant, and she just cried. First time I've seen her cry. I wanted to comfort her, but she disappeared before I could. I don't know. I don't want the door. I just want to sleep. Hopefully the door is an actual fucking door opening and letting me the fuck out of here. Maybe that's why Linda cried. Maybe she doesn't want me to leave yet.
Day 29. The light went out. Not flickered, not dimmed, just gone. I sat in the dark for what felt like hours, maybe days. Every creak felt like a scream. Every breath felt borrowed. When the light came back, there was a word scratched into the wall. Home. I didn't write it. I don't think I did.
Day 30? I woke up to warmth. Not the cell. Me. Like something inside of me was glowing. I looked at my hands. They were shaking, vibrating. I laughed so hard I fell over. The cracked wall is wide now. I can see something looking through it. Maybe light, maybe fire, maybe nothing. The door Frank was talking about. I think I'm ready. I think I have to be.
Day 31. I peeled a scab off just to feel something real. The pain was dull, not sharp like it should have been. My nerves were dying, or maybe I already did. I asked Linda if I was dead. She said yes. Frank said not yet. They both laughed after. It echoed too long, too loud. I screamed at the wall until my throat went raw.
Day 32. I bit my hand today. I wanted to see if I could bleed red or black. It was red. For now, still human. There are things in the dark when you close your eyes, faces I don't remember, but who remember me? One time whispered, I forgave you. Another whispered, I never will. I don't even know what the fuck they're talking about.
Day 33. The wall is bleeding. No one believes me. I touched it. It was warm, metallic. It pulsed like a heartbeat. I laughed and told it, we're the same now. I don't sleep anymore. I think sleep's a trick, a trap to make you let your guard down. I stay awake to keep them out.
Day 34. I screamed until my voice gave out. No one came. I banged on the door with my fist. Nothing. I cried until I tasted salt and blood. I think I begged. I don't remember for what for. Help, death, company. I would trade my soul for 5 minutes in the rain. I used to hate the rain, I think. Fuck, who knows at this point?
Day 35. I found a beetle crawling across the floor. First living thing I've seen in here besides me and the ghosts. I talked to him for hours, named him Harold, told him my secrets, promised him freedom. He climbed into the crack in the wall and didn't come back. Even he left me. Fuck you, Harold.
Day 36. The shadows aren't staying on the walls anymore. I saw one in the center of the room today, crouching. It had my face, my eyes, but it smiled wrong, crooked, like it was wearing me. It said, we don't leave. Then it crawled inside of the toilet and vanished. I think I'm losing something permanent now.
Day 37. Time's not real. I know that now. There's no past, no future. Just screams and silence, alternating like breaths. I keep seeing a door where the wall should be. A white one. Not the kind in here. A house door. I knock, but it never opens. I think that's the point. I think I'm being punished for something I can't remember. Memory is a funny thing. We remember what we choose and forget what we don't, but sometimes the mind breaks, and we forget things we so badly want to remember. The mind, what a fucked up thing it is. We can talk to ourselves without making a peep. We can imagine whatever we so choose. The problem is that the mind can do whatever it wants to. As much as we feel like we control our own mind, our minds most definitely can control us, control our reality. The human mind, fucking incredible. Fucking terrifying.
Day 38. I tried to gouge out my own ears today. The buzzing, the whispering, the fucking hum. I tore them until I bled. It didn't stop. Nothing ever stops. Linda told me I used to be kind. Frank said I was never going to amount to anything. I told them both to go fuck themselves, and I haven't seen them since. I miss them.
Day 39. There's another me. I saw him. Sitting in the corner writing the same journal word for word. When I moved, he moved. But when I stopped, he didn't. I'm not the only one in here anymore. I don't know who the real one is. Maybe I'm just having an out-of-body experience. Maybe my mind is completely broken and I've become two different versions of myself. Maybe, just maybe, there's a fucking living being in my goddamn motherfucking room that looks like me.
Day 40. They're in the walls. I know how that sounds, but it's true. I hear them breathing. I hear them scratching, whispering names I've never told to anyone. I think they've been here longer than me. Maybe this place is alive. Maybe it feeds on us. Maybe it's always hungry. I wonder how many souls have come into this room and experienced what I've experienced. Are they alive? Dead? Is it them that I hear inside these godforsaken walls?
Day 41. I almost stopped writing because I thought it was making me worse, but not writing is worse. The silence fills in the cracks, becomes a scream. This journal is my last thread, my last grip to my sanity. I think if I stop, I'll dissolve, just become part of the room. Just another echo scratching behind someone else's walls.
Day 42. Ah, fuck, motherfucker!
Day 43. I think I just wrote nonsense the day prior. I'm surprised I wrote anything at all. Today, though, I saw light under the door. Real light. Not the buzzing fake shit. Warm, yellow sunlight. I cried, got on my knees and begged the crack to open wider. It vanished. Cruel fucking joke. I think this place shows you hope right before it eats you. The way you scream sweeter. Scream sweeter? I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream? I'm losing it, but damn, I just made myself laugh so fucking hard.
Day 44. I'm not alone anymore. Something's in here with me. Not Frank, not Linda, not the mirror version of me. Something else. I can feel it breathing when I sleep. It moves just outside the corner of my vision. It touches the back of my neck with its cold fingers. It says nothing. That's worse. What the fuck is this thing? I can see it coming after me. It's getting closer. I'm trying not to look at it, but I keep writing, but I'm scared. I'm really fucking scared.
Day 45. They opened the door. Just like that. No warning, no announcement. The light from the hallway burned my eyes. I covered my face and begged them to shut it. One guard said, You're being
released.
I laughed. I cried. They dragged me out, and I screamed. Screamed like I was dying. Like the cell had become part of me and ripping me out was tearing flesh. The hallway looked fake. The world outside, worse. Too big, too loud, too real. They handed me a bag of clothes and a paper to sign. I don't remember signing it. I don't remember walking out. I just remember the sun. It didn't even feel warm. It just felt wrong. Like staring into something I'd forgotten how to exist in. I should be happy, I know that, but part of me is still in there. Still scratching the wall. Still waiting for the next meal slot to open. Still talking to the shadows. Still counting breaths. Still waiting for the door behind the wall. And I don't know if I ever really left. How could I ever know what's real or not ever again? As far as I know, I'm still in that fucking room, trapped inside my own head. Making up all this shit while Frank, Linda, Harold, that weird fucking demon-looking motherfucker are all having a feast with my corpse. I guess I'll just choose to believe that this is my actual reality, and that I did in fact make it out of the room, and make it out of prison. The alternative seems far too fucked up. I guess this is as good a point as any to end my journal, and make an attempt at living a good life.
Prisoner number 37426.
What do they call this shit again? An epilogue? I mean, I guess the people who took the time to read my journal would like to know what's going on with me nowadays. I mean, I'm free, at least that's what they tell me. I'm writing this from a halfway house, the kind of place where broken men go to pretend they're still whole. I have a bed, if I ever will. What's the point? I still sleep on the floor from time to time. Not because I have to, more so because the bed feels wrong. Too soft, like it might swallow me. I lie on the cold tile and listen to the silence. It's not real silence though, trust me. I know what real silence is. Here there's always something. A buzz, a whisper, a breath. Something. Sometimes I wake up and think I'm still there. Sometimes I wish I was. Weird, right? No one told me how loud the world is. Colors are too bright, people talk too fast, every noise feels like a slap. I just wanted the silence back. Well, not really. I'm being silly. That shit was scary. The real world just doesn't feel less scary at times. I've tried to reconnect with people, but I see it in their eyes. They don't know how to talk to me. They ask shallow questions, offer me pity. They don't understand what solitary does. It doesn't just keep you alone. It makes you alone, even when you're with others. I asked a counselor if I could go back in. Not for long, just a few hours. She looked at me like I was diseased, sick. Wrong. Oh, Jesus fucking.
Oh, dude, this guy's
Yeah,
cooked, brother.
this guy is
Oh,
fucking-
we haven't actually talked throughout this entire story, bro.
No, we haven't. No, we have not. This has been
This
riveting.
is a brutal story. And I actually like the way that this story bounces. Like, I feel like we chose the perfect days for each other.
We really did. We really did.
Like-
I don't know how that even worked that way, but
Like, the calm, more rational side of days were the even days or the odd days, and the even day. Wait, yeah, the even days were just schizo posting.
yeah, just schizo posting. Exactly. I was
Yeah.
just thinking that exact phrase.
And
so
I didn't
funny.
even know what the voice to go in with, and the more unhinged it got, the better I felt with my choices.
Yeah, you were like, this was absolutely the correct choice the entire time. Solitary strips you down, burns off the layers. What's left isn't always something that can walk back into the world and function. It's something feral, something altered, something haunted. I was always told prison was about rehabilitation and that they wanted people to be productive members of society. But how do you become an active and productive member of society when all your rights are stripped away and you're stuck in a room by yourself for 45 days with nothing but your mind to keep you company? I get released from my own personal hell and get a swift kick in the ass into the real world, and I'm just supposed to function. Unfucking believable, if you ask me. I still see Frank sometimes, in reflections and alleyways. I hear Linda's humming when I pass empty halls. I know they're not real. I know they never were, but I think part of my mind fractured while I was in there for sure. And now I just have to ignore the voices in my head, the hallucinations that linger, and the way my mind has created its own reality within the reality that everyone else sees. I continue to talk to Frank and Linda, because they listened, because they stayed. They were the only ones who stayed. Sometimes I go to the park and I sit on a bench by myself. I don't feed the birds, I just sit, close my eyes, count the breaths, wait for the buzz to return. Sometimes I hear the metal door slam shut in my mind, and for a moment, I feel safe, then scared, then back to reality. I know I'm not okay. I don't know if I'll ever be okay. Hard to be okay when part of my brain still thinks at any moment I'm gonna wake up in that room, curled up in a ball. Hard to enjoy freedom when I have this fear that it's just not real. I guess that's why I'm typing this, why I decided to share my journal. I'm hoping that maybe, just maybe, enough people will validate my existence, and that I am in fact living in the real world, rather than the one I created in my own head. Dude, that was fucked up, man. We have two stories today that had no supernatural elements to them, really. We didn't have anything outright supernatural happening. I think that this guy was just losing his fucking mind in solitary confinement.
Yeah, I think I love how much love this writer's getting.
Yeah, down in the comments and stuff.
Yeah, I went down to the comments, and there was some people who obviously we're trying to play the game where it's oh, it's real. Mm-hmm. But this is this person just is gloomy succotash. It's just so happy that their story's being read. You can tell almost everything that they've put in there is just their love for people taking the time to read their story. And I don't know. They have one comment here that I'm really grateful for the positive feedback. I really never had the courage to share anything I've written until very recently. Then I started sharing it with my close family. I'm glad others have enjoyed what I've written. It means a lot.
My favorite comment is, all my homies hate Harold.
All my homies hate Harold, dude. Harold sucked, dude. Oh Harold, my god.
Man. I think he was kind of cool. We just popped in for a second, and he's like, "This isn't my story, bud.
This isn't mine. Yours. You are the Cthulhu horror monster in my story."
Yeah, right.
This giant won't quit calling me Harold.
That would be an awesome no sleep. Is I was walking to this dark room, and this Cthulhu monster snatched me up and talked to me for hours.
This story from the perspective of the cockroach that literally goes to see if it's real, and the moment he does, friend, how have you been, friend? Just unhinged on the poor cockroach. Oh, that'd be so good, dude. That's so funny.
I'm Marvin. I'm out of here.
Marvin. I'm Marvin Gaye.
Dude, I just think it was so crazy. At the end, the real chilling twist for me was when he asked the therapist if there was like a way that they could set it up
That
for
was
him to go
brutal.
back into solitary. That
was brutal.
crazy.
That was really rough. I mean, the whole story was rough.
There is a psychological thing that happens to people when they become institutionalized, man, where they find so much more comfort in those terrifying situations than they do out in the real world where normal shit's going down. Or really not normal shit, but it's not normal to them anymore, I guess is what I'm getting at. Like,
well, and you hear this about people who leave the military too, where they lose that structure.
Yes.
They lose the structure, and once that's gone, they don't know who they are because they've been living under structure for so long. They're like a structure that's been like forced down upon them. So now that they don't have somebody telling them what to do 24/7, they start to it's just too much altogether. It's too much freedom just getting like shoved right at you.
The same way that you just become like your last name, which isn't even really a name anymore, it's just identifying syllables at you, and is kind of similar to the same way that when you get to prison, you're just a number after that. Like, this guy didn't even identify himself by his first name or anything like that. He titled himself as his prisoner number at the end. So this guy just didn't even, I don't even think he's gotten his identity back ever.
The only thing that could have made this better is if Russell Crowe showed up to sing every once in a while. Prisoner 445.
Harold had a singing number. That would have been fucking cool.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I don't know. I had so much fun with that one. I had so much fun with both of these. They were both really good, very different, but at the same time, kind of similar style horror.
Yeah.
They were kind of in the same element because, like, one's the horror of the mundane life, getting you to go crazy, and the other one is the horror of isolation getting you to go crazy.
Yeah, of some huge mistake has resulted in something that's going to divest you of the reality that you knew before you went in this place, and that you're not going to be the same person afterwards.
Yep.
It is similar. Like, I mean, the dude in the worm packing plant, his soul just got washed out of his body, dude, by all of this weird, mundane, surreal, just bullshit that he couldn't take anymore. Like, kind of a mixture of like Fight Club and Wendigoon, honestly. It's just, I just keep going back to Wendigoon.
You go back to Wendigoon?
The origin story of Wendy. He can't work anymore because he burned down a fucking worm packing plant.
He went to college and then just like, I can't do this anymore. I burned down a worm packing plant. Now I'm gonna make iceberg videos. I'm gonna be the iceberg boy.
Yeah. That's why he's always in his house.
Oh, dude, that's wild. That's wild. Well, yeah, that's all we got for you guys today. I think this is a good place to round it out. That last story beat the brakes off of my ball sack, so I need to take a break and take a nap. But thank you guys all for watching. Make sure to rate us on Spotify. I still haven't even thought about putting this on Apple Podcast. Maybe it is by the time this video releases. I have no idea. I don't know what future me or past me is doing right now, other than probably taking a nap. That's what I need to do. But you got anything to round us out, Ben?
I don't really have anything. Thank you all for listening so much. We appreciate you guys, man. You know what the outro stuff is. Post stories on Haunted Router. Keep bothering us and all that type of shit. We love to hear from you.
We love it. We love it, dude. You guys are fucking amazing goon bags. But deuces. I'm just gonna deuces right now.
Yeah, just deuce out.